Hey everyone, I'm here with nutrition coach Tira, and today we're going to do a nutrition for athletes, fuel for athletes, and talk a little bit about all things nutrition. So, Tira, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Sure. So my background is actually in art, but I've been a personal trainer since 2003. So I've been in the fitness industry for a long time. Just recently was able to get my CF nutrition, so CrossFit Nutrition Level 1, and have been studying pretty much all things nutrition, research studies, for the last, I would say, 5 years. So
And what is your personal journey with nutrition?
Oh,
The Cliff's Notes
Cliff
version.
Notes version. I do have a background in I studied a little bit at UCSD, so I was hoping to get into a nutrition. They didn't really have a degree, but wanted to start with biology. So, and that was 2000 and or actually well yeah, 2000. So, and then from there battled a little bit of anorexia and bulimia, bounced back from that to become a CrossFit athlete, yoga teacher, rock climber, surfer, and
Nice.
yeah, outdoor enthusiast. So
Excellent. So we're in good company here at Patagonia. Okay, so we're gonna kind of do this in a question answer style. So I guess my first question is, why is nutrition important?
ooh. Well, nutrition is kind of the foundation of any activity. Um, Fitness is one part, and nothing impacts your kind of the benefits of having an active lifestyle, like making sure that you're fueled for whatever activities you're doing. That could be day to day, that could be extreme sports, or it could just be a gym workout. Um, you need to fuel your activities. Your body has um, certain systems and processes that are going on 24/7. So, in order to have those running smoothly, in addition to enjoying these activities, then it needs to have certain building blocks, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats.
Excellent. So what you're saying is calories aren't bad.
No, calories are energy. Energy is, yeah, what we need to live and thrive.
Excellent. I've heard our body fat composition testing analyst, Linda Finley, who you should all get to know when the body fat truck comes to town. She has said that our lean mass uses calories, our fat mass does not. And that has always stuck with me as like knowing that my calories are being used by all the good stuff in my body
Mhm,
and the fat mass is just insulation. Is
mhm.
that Am
Yeah.
I saying that accurately?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, you got
excellent.
it.
So let's talk a little bit about how our body uses nutrition. You kind of started in on that, but maybe explaining better, like how those calories are used throughout a regular day,
Sure.
the different aspects.
Yeah. So, if you are laying down on your bed, eyes open, breathing, you are burning a certain amount of energy, and it's known as your resting metabolic rate or your basal metabolic rate. It's about 70% of your caloric intake. So that's a huge amount just to exist, right? Then you have what's called NEAT, which is essentially what you're burning walking around kind of your day-to-day life. So, fidgeting, getting up to use the restroom, sitting at your computer, standing up, sitting down, all of that. Kind of just your more minor activities. Then you have the thermogenic effect of food or TEF. That is another around 10% of your caloric intake. That is actually breaking down your, say, protein. Your body needs to digest your food. So you're actually burning energy while you're burning energy. It's very meta, but your body needs, it needs energy to digest. And then you have your exercise, your classes, your rock climbing, your surfing, your running.
Mhm.
That accounts for around 5% of your daily intake.
Only 5%?
Tiny percent. That's it. You could be exercising for, 45 minutes to 2 hours, and it's still a very small amount.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so the BMR, how do I find that number?
So that's going to be based on
Or
your
RMR, excuse me.
Yeah, BMR, RMR, interchangeable. That can be based off of your weight and your height, right? And some can argue also it's affected by your lean mass. So
Okay.
what percentage of lean mass you have, right? That's going to affect your metabolism. Your muscle is very metabolically expensive. It's very active.
So I can imagine someone that has a higher lean mass is going to have a higher RMR because all that lean mass needs to burn more energy and things like that.
Yes.
So the typical calculator on the internet doesn't know how much muscle I have, because me
Correct.
at 170 pounds versus someone who doesn't work out at 170 pounds, same height, same
Yes.
sex, right? We're going to have two different numbers.
Yes.
So the most accurate way would be the like body composition testing.
Correct.
Okay.
BMI has kind of been the OG standard, right? Body mass index, which is just based on your weight and your height, and then your age and your gender, or your sex, rather, not gender. What kind of the new tool or new standard is now is fat-free mass index, which is exactly what you're talking
Oh,
about.
interesting.
Height, and then how much body fat, what your body fat percentage or your lean mass percentage is, right? Fat-free mass. So different number, and takes
Okay.
into account your metabolism based on exactly how muscular you are, metabolically
So
active.
that's super interesting because a lot of like user interfaces for fitness, like Strava or even my Fitness Pal, my Whoop band, I'm a Whoop wearer, Fitbit, things like that. They don't
Garmin.
tip Garmin. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what athletes would use, right? So a lot of those don't take into account or don't ask for a body fat percentage. I know that a couple of them you can put body fat percentage, and I'm sure the number would be more accurate that way.
Right.
But I think the most important point I want to get across to our viewers here is that those numbers are very generic.
Yes.
Right? When you just put in, I'm a female, 5'8", 170 pounds, it's going to spit out whatever the generic. So it'll probably put me at like 20 to 25% body fat because that's an average.
Right.
Right. So it's going to guess based on that instead of having like a very accurate number. So like when Whoop tells me that I am burning X amount of calories during a workout, if it doesn't know my lean mass, it doesn't really know.
It doesn't know.
It's a guess.
Yes. Exactly.
And it could be plus or minus a lot of calories.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
It's
Good.
an educated guess, but it still doesn't tell the whole story.
Okay, so as an athlete, if I'm truly trying to fuel my body for performance and understanding how many calories my body really needs to do X, Y, and Z, that's a really important number.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I love that. This is why we love the body fat test and hydrostatic weighing. Okay, so let's move on into diet, because diet is one of those words that's either taken it's usually taken very negatively, right? Like I'm on a diet. And I have always liked the word as just what is your diet? Like that your diet is what you eat.
What you
right?
eat every day. Yeah.
So let's assume though that we're going to be like the majority of people and say that a diet is a specific something. So what is the best diet out there?
Ooh, well, there's a hierarchy
Okay.
of what constitutes a good diet or the best diet. And at the very foundation is just, can you adhere to it? Can you stick to whatever rules you set for yourself every day for the rest of your life?
Excellent. So the best diet is one you can do. I like this answer.
Makes sense.
Okay. And then what do we look at next in a diet?
And the next, just what you were speaking about as far as metabolism is calories. So are you getting enough calories regardless of the breakdown? How much are you burning? Are you getting that amount?
And then if I know I'm getting enough calories, what do I look at next?
And then next up is your macronutrients, so proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And then
are there any other macronutrients?
Those are it.
Okay.
Just the three. Just the trifecta.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what do I look at next? If I've got my macros dialed in, I know exactly what I'm doing. What's next?
And then you have your micros, which are going to be your water soluble vitamins, your fat solubles, which are arguably hormones or hormone precursors. There's a lot of studies going on. Now they can track very specific data about different foods. They have these huge databases with MyFitnessPal. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of new research coming out about it, but it's mainly vitamins and minerals.
Okay, and then I've got my macros and my micros kind
Mhm.
of dialed in. I know I'm getting a variety of foods that will allow me to get all the different nutrients that I need, at
Yep.
least to the best of my ability, and maybe taking a vitamin or something on the side.
Yep.
What would be the next thing that I look at?
Then you look at how often do you eat and when do you eat.
Okay.
So do you work out fasted? Do you go all day, work, your whole work day and then eat one meal? Or are you breaking up your meal into your food into 3 different meals or 6 meals or
Okay. And then is there anything else that I should be looking at?
um that's the basic.
Okay.
If you're getting really into performance and really high level athleticism, you can look at supplements.
Okay.
So those are going to be your protein powders, creatine. There's a few of them. There's a lot of them actually. But they're not required, I would say, for everyday life
Okay.
necessarily.
So maybe more once I've gotten, this is a hierarchy you're talking about.
Right.
So once I have found the diet that I can adhere to, that I can stick with,
Right.
then I'm looking at those as like a layering thing. So once I've got my adherence, now I'm like, am I getting enough calories? Once I got that dialed in, it's macros.
Yep.
Once the macros are dialed in, then I can start looking at the micros, make sure I'm getting variety of foods.
Mhm.
And then you said meal
Mhm.
timing. So then I would kind of dial that in. And then last but not least would be the supplements and things like that. And there is a world where I can be doing all of those things,
Yes.
even if I don't have maybe the calories dialed in perfectly. Or what is your recommendation? Let's say I do a protein shake every day. And that's my main focus,
point.
but you're finding that I'm under eating every day too. What?
Right. So it's kind of where do you start? Circular logic. But okay, great that you have the protein shake. You know you're getting protein. Then it's time to look at what else are you eating and can you get as many whole foods into your diet every day as possible?
Okay, like so maybe that goes more into like the quality of food conversation.
Yes.
So maybe you can speak a little bit more to that specifically. So now I've kind of got, I've got some my adherences on, and like I've got some sort of balance and all those others. Obviously we're not looking for perfection.
Yeah.
We're looking for like an 80 to 90% adherence to all of those other things.
Mhm.
So then I'm looking at the quality of food is
Yeah.
the next step.
Yeah. Whole unprocessed. That's going to be your fresh fruits and veggies, your animal protein sources, so your meats, your eggs, your dairy, um, plant-based protein sources like your legumes, nuts, and seeds. That includes your fats. And then oils are definitely a part of it. You want to try and eat as unrefined as possible, right? Obviously, yes, it's not going to be completely perfect. And we have all of these wonderful ways to extract nutrition from our resources. So, but the simpler, the better.
Yes. So I always use this one with clients when people say that nutrition is confusing, I say it's really not. It's actually very simple. It's like if I asked anybody what is the healthier option, the bagel and cream cheese or the apple, when you go into the work break room, it's like everyone knows the answer to that. It's
Mhm.
being able to choose the apple and knowing that that's the right choice and that you're willing to choose that versus the bagel and cream cheese.
Sure.
So I always feel like nutrition really is simple.
Not necessarily easy.
Yes.
Though.
Yes, well said.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start talking about like how much food should I be getting? So is that based on my workouts or my obviously we know it's based on how much lean mass I
Yes.
have. That's a big chunk of it, but
Yeah.
what other things am I looking at and how do I know how much I need to be eating?
Again, knowing your lean mass is really important and I think super helpful. It's a great starting point. And then also what your activities are. So if you know your lean mass and you know your height and your weight and for your age group and for your sex, then you have your resting metabolic rate. So that's a number. Then you're adding on to that what your activities are. again, that includes, do you walk to work? Do you bike to work? Do you have an active job? Are you in construction? That's going to be using a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Then you also have, on top of that, are you going to a workout every day? Are you going on rock climbing trips on the weekends? Are you snowboarding? So, or are you doing a 5-day a week strength training program? So that definitely plays into how much you
So
can eat.
basically, the more I move, the more I get to eat.
Pretty much.
That sounds great.
Fuel your life.
Yes, fuel your life. I love it. Do you have like a recommendation on how many times a day I eat? I mean, like, we don't need to go into the weeds on like intermittent fasting and things like that, but
Yeah.
people that intermittent fast like have to eat more per sitting instead of
Mhm.
eating throughout the day. So do you
Yes.
have a suggestion for athletes specifically, or people that are live active lifestyles on how often they should eat?
Yeah, I mean, in my personal experience, I like to spread things out. So throughout the day, I've tried many different techniques. Intermittent fasting is getting a lot of popularity right now, which works for some people simply because maybe they're really busy and they only have a certain window where they can
Mhm.
sit down and eat. However, you have to look at if you have your calories dialed in. And if you do, then that's a little bit easier. You know what you need to eat and you know how much. If you don't, then you're going to kind of have to look at maybe spreading it out and having a breakfast. And then, okay, I need to have this many calories. Let's get a snack. Let's have lunch. Probably I'm going to need another snack before dinner and then maybe even another snack after that. So it's really kind of individual and it depends on how well someone knows their body.
Okay. So let's say I've dialed in like my activity level throughout the week, and like I know how many calories I should be eating a day. And are is there I don't know if it's a percentage, or how would you break down how much I should be having per meal? So let's
Oh,
say,
yeah.
let's make it an easy number. It's 2,000 calories a day that I should be having.
Mhm.
And I'm going to eat 5 times in a day. Do you spread that out equally? Do you not? Does it matter? Like, what's kind of like the gold standard in that sense?
Yeah, I would say gold standard would be breaking it up as evenly and balanced as possible across the day and then per meal. So there's many different theories and schools of thought about whether you should eat all your carbohydrates before and after you work out. If you are a high level athlete and you've been performing for a long time, you might have that dialed in and know that for yourself. If not, and you're still kind of figuring it out, then you might want to do a 40% carb, 30% fat, 30% protein. Try to hit that at each meal,
Each meal.
whether you're eating 4 meals or 6 meals.
And whether or not I'm eating like a 100-calorie snack versus a 500-calorie
Exactly.
meal.
Yeah, you can break up those 100 calories into 40
Still getting,
calories coming from carbs, 30
yeah.
coming from protein, and 30 coming from fats. And it tends to be one of the better balances.
Okay. Is that gonna affect my performance if I don't? Like, let's say I just an example is like I just have a banana before a workout and I
Mhm.
don't have any protein or fat. It's
Mhm.
just carbohydrates and sugar.
Mhm.
Is that bad, good? What's happening there?
Bad and good is very polarizing, and I try to stay away from those
Those words,
words.
sorry. Yes.
Yeah, no,
I appreciate that.
it's okay. There's a lot of good and bad around food. And
Yeah.
so thinking about optimization, there's kind of basics and then there's optimization. I like to use kind of that. It's not really a dichotomy, but those terms instead. And if you're thinking about, all right, my body's going to be uh, breaking down muscle tissue and then I need to adapt and build it back up, it's good to have a little bit of protein in the tank
Mhm.
before. So I would say optimally have a little bit of protein, have your banana, so
Yeah.
add a few nuts in or add some protein powder and blend it up. And you're going to optimize your body's processes and its ability to adapt to whatever exercise you're doing.
Okay. Um, okay, so I guess then the next step really for most everyone here that's going to be viewing this today is they need to know their numbers.
Yeah.
So they need to find the body fat test.
Find Linda.
Find Linda.
She's everywhere.
She is literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you get into the body fat tank, there's a 4-page report that gets spit out for you, and Tira and I are very well read into that report and can help break those numbers down for you so that we could actually like put your numbers out and say, you need to be reaching 2000 calories. That would be 400 calories a meal for 5 meals or whatever the thing is that we're looking at, and help you kind of dial that in a little bit more. So that would be like step one. And then obviously the goal is to eat whole foods. And man, that does sound simple. How come
Not easy.
2/3 of the country's overweight or obese?
Yeah.
We got some work to do
It's a skill, honestly, and it takes practice
and time
and
and
guidance.
effort. Yes.
And time and effort. for sure.
Yes. So, let's keep talking about that in our next video. We're gonna dive in a little deeper into a report from the body fat test and talk a little bit more about that. So we hope you join us next time. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.